Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Sir Scoots, reveal us. Oh my goodness, we're in a studio. This is Day9 Daily number 208, where we learn to be a better gamer. In exciting news today, I am not in my room. Oh, I'm joined by djWHEAT. We're going to be doing a live coaching session now. Let me briefly do all the good old intro jazz. I just finished the EG Masters Cup here in Phoenix, Arizona. Big props to djWHEAT for casting with me. Big props to the production crew to my right, who I'm waving to.
Anytime.
Who
Big
are, of
props
course,
to you.
making this daily possible. Yeah, big props to me because I'm still going, still alive. We're even DVRing Walking Dead right now. Oh, I can't believe we're missing it right now, but that's okay because I'm devoted to you fine folks. I'm going to give you the heart.
You know, can I just
sandwich.
make a quick,
quick
suggestion?
Naturally.
Wouldn't it be really appropriate that somehow the Fun Day Monday has infested Terrans in it this week? You know, just to celebrate.
I can never spoil the Fun Day Monday for the following week until that Monday, but I will do that little bookkeeping right now. Fun Day Monday is tomorrow. There's the zombie. Hey, give
Wait,
me
that's
attention.
zombie on zombie action. That doesn't happen.
I cannot tell you how much it pains me to not be in control of the production because they can actually at any point in time just be like, all right, now, djWHEAT, this is a really important point. He just mutes me and pans back over and goes, brains.
Hijacking it anytime.
So, in exciting news, Fun Day Monday is tomorrow. Send an email to monday@day9.tv of you playing a 2v2 where both of you are the same race, but neither of you can make the same unit. So, for instance, if one of you makes Marines and Marauders, the other player cannot make Marines and Marauders for the rest of the game. So, you got to basically split up the units for that race together. And, of course, Newbie Tuesday is on Tuesday. I want you to submit a replay of you losing a 2 versus 2 because one of your buddies, of course, the only buddy you have in the 2v2, got rushed, got killed, and you couldn't withstand the heat and died. Send in that replay because, of course, 2v2s do induce lots of stress, as djWHEAT will attest over here.
I play Zerg in my 2v2, so I get that a lot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's always the
Yeah.
best because they're like, all right, who's the slow? Oh, you got a Terran ally? Well, just kill the not Terran, which, of course, will always be Wheat. Now, of course, Wheat is going to be doing a very special little Day9 Daily today. I like to have these themed dailies, but today's extra special because I actually have another warm body to my left. What djWHEAT is going to do is he is going to play a regular standard straight-up ladder match, and I'm going to be giving commentary live on his play, and then afterwards we'll have a little discussion. Hopefully you will win, because if not, there are 6,562 people who will watch and go, oh my Wheat. And then afterwards, we're going to do a live coaching session where I will literally be talking into Wheat's ear the entire time he is playing. Because again, I want to reemphasize how the mindset of a real player is about the mental checklist, all the steps he has to constantly be thinking in his head about, making pylons, making probes, or in your case, making overlords, making larva injects, watching the minimap, watching those units, all that good sort of stuff, and that the strategy really develops in between the games. It's the execution we're going to be thinking about today. So without any further ado, Wheat, find a match for me.
Okay, I mean, at any
1v1,
point,
not 2v2.
obviously, but at any point, do I actually get to, put down my excuses? Because
Oh, of course. Actually, before we start, what are your excuses right off
All
the
right,
bat? I
so-
have water. I'll drink it. I won't even interrupt.
Great. I do want to say I've got a 7G, which I'm totally stoked about. This is keyboard I use at home. I love it.
Yeah.
My mouse
we
is
get the
different.
overhead shot. Yeah.
My mouse, I'm using the, I love this thing, you guys. It's the bomb. Mouse, I'm using a mouse I'm not too familiar with. I tried to set it as good as I can, but, being an old school FPS player, I'm kind of a bitch like that. I kind of like it. It's going to be perfect.
You can pull that pad back at this
Yeah?
point because we're not framed
Okay,
for the show
let's pull it
anymore.
back.
So, yeah,
Let's see if
so
I
it's
can get
usable
some.
for you, 'cause that's
All right. We're going to keep this pumpkin up here because, of course, it is
Okay,
Halloween.
that feels much better. Thank you. Okay, we're going to eliminate mousepad from the excuse list. But the other one, dude, is like, I do a lot of this stuff. I kind of travel around the world, do it. It's been I'm actually really nervous, so I'm going to probably play horribly, but you know what? That's that's a part of it, right?
I will comment on that as well because again, pressure is always something that
we'll
can
see. I just
influence the play.
I just gotta shake it off beforehand,
Shrug it. Go into boss mode. It is no problem.
Okay, fine match, dude.
All right.
Okay, get him out of my ear.
Finding match. All right. Is he muted from my ear?
No, I can still hear you.
All
it's
right.
looking for players right now. I can't hear game sounds either. Oh my god, I'm freaking out. Can we confirm that before we get started?
Uh-oh.
I'm freaking out.
Oh, hey. Well, I do hear the Terran music in my ear.
Okay, I like it.
So, of course, I'm actually going to scoot a little bit away from Wheat. I'm still in the frame, but notice how there's this big
I can
empty
hear you,
gap
Scoots. I
between...
can no longer hear.
Can you hear me?
I can no longer hear Day.
All right. All right, fantastic. So this means that Wheat cannot actually hear me right now.
Am I good then?
And fortunately, the in-game music should be loud enough such that He actually cannot hear anything I'm saying, even through the outside of his headphones. He's feeling the fear. He can actually see me. Oh, he's trying to find the match. Now, of course, what would be the best part of all...
search.
I know the best part of all would be if he couldn't find a match. As if, like, we're sitting here for 5 minutes and no match actually comes up on the screen.
Oh, yes, player found. Okay.
All right.
I'd like a Protoss to come up. Oh,
and it's
shit.
going to be a Zerg. Oh. Very emotional experience, and there we go.
Really?
All right, so the big things that I am currently going to be looking for are ideas of execution, less about the actual build that he is going to be doing. Oh, yeah, perfect audio mixing, yeah. It's so weird to not handle my production at all. So there's... I'm also looking at his hotkey setup. I want to make sure that that is efficient. I'm not going to talk as much about the strategy itself because too often people obsess about, am I building the right thing at the right time? But really, so much of play is about just those fundamentals. So right now, it looks like Wheat is throwing down an Overlord, and he's continuing to send out a Scout. We see that he has hotkeyed, oh, it looks like he has a Scout drone hotkeyed as 1. He has 4 as his hatchery, which we can even see at the little tab on the bottom. He is just spamming now. I love the fact that he's spamming. This is great. He's just going to be getting drones as fast as possible. Sometimes people wait till the Overlord finishes and then they hit the button. Almost always better to spam. And it looks like he does not see his Zerg opponent at the other side. So right now, honestly, Wheat has been playing pretty much flawlessly. Notice how there's a lot of boxing, there's a lot of rearranging and all that stuff. He's pinging around the minimap. And again, a thing I really, really love that he is doing is that he is using his hotkeys to go elsewhere. He is not clicking on the minimap to scout around, and it looks like that drone did manage to see at the left. Now, the one thing that does bother me a little bit is that notice that that drone was waypointed at the bottom left. He sent it to the left expansion, and then let the rally point, the waypoint take him down to the south side. I would have much preferred that if he was already watching that drone. See, right now this drone is starting to move in. Really want to see how quickly he ends up going back to that drone. Now, his gas geyser has finished, and look how much energy he's spending into that waypoint. Still has not transferred any into gas. That might be intentional. It might be a mistake. I would call that a little bit of a blunder. Yep, there we go, and there now is actually going into the gas. Okay, cool. Now, one thing to note, there is a waypoint being set up in the base, but there's literally absolutely no vision. He is not spending time with his monitor down south. There's very little that needs to be looked at in the base. Very, very little. He'd love to throw down this expansion, but what he should have been doing is he should have been looking at the far south side with that drone, and then just glancing up at his minerals. He's at 270, no need to look back at the base. Now he's finally looking back at the base. He's continuing to build up units. He needs to be very active with poking around with that drone. He saw some useful things, but I want to note a couple of things. The only things that Wheat has really seen is the fact that there's a spawning pool going down, the fact that there is a hatchery going down. He hasn't done anything such as count drones, check if anything's going on. Uh-oh, There, of course, was a little bit too big of a boxing going on, and this is very good by djWHEAT. Probably doesn't need to bring those guys up. And you know, the smartest thing to do would be to oftentimes let that get very close to being finished. But you'll notice that despite clicking relatively fast, there is not a lot of calm to the play. A lot of the fastest players out there will be playing very, very calmly, checking what they need to check. See, again, notice the drone down at the bottom, clicked on the minimap to go visit it, should be hitting 3-3 or 1-1 or whatever the hotkey is for that. And again, a lot of vision should still be devoted to a lot of I should say screen time should be devoted to that drone at the bottom, and very little should be devoted to the main. We're spending time in the main a lot. The way you avoid spending too much time in the main is looking at the minerals at the top right, glancing, knowing what things you want to do, and if you even take your attention to the bottom of the screen, the very far bottom, notice that we're looking at the Zerglings right now. The far bottom of the screen, we see the Zerglings getting selected. There's one Zergling being selected right now. If we just taps 4, for instance, he can check up on his larva. There's all sorts of things that can be done from the bottom. Notice that we're looking in the main, but the only things that we've actually had to do in the main for the last little bit is generate that creep tumor right there. So that is going to be just a general thing that people tend to do is when their APM's starting to speed up. They're clicking a lot, but they're forgetting that where you look is just as important as what you're clicking. So at all points in time right now, Wheat should be glancing at his mini-map, glancing there regularly. It looks like he's sending units to the left side. And we have some roaches now beginning to go down. And here's another little classic thing. Strategy-wise, this is the first thing I'm actually going to comment on. There's not a lot of drones there at the natural expansion. Really want to see a couple more of those. And there's some drones going down. Notice the mouse is actually being pretty active. There's a lot of scooting, moving, rearranging the screen. We want to have a little bit more of our keyboard hand dedicated to that sort of action. So that way we can very rapidly move around. Now, of course, I'm going to have to lean over to Wheat's screen to see if I can see how much energy the Queen has. It doesn't. I kind of don't want to lean over his shoulder and just breathe on him, because I think the heat of my hot man breath would be distracting. But either way, I want to point out that the basic look of this is good. You hear me talk about this all the time. The basic look is pretty damn normal. A lot of pretty early expansion, a good amount of roaches. Look, both players are making a good amount of roaches right now. Looks like the Zerglings are going to swing around. They're going to get a chance to spot what's up. Now, I'm going to finish my point, and I'm going to try to just re-talk about all those Zerglings that ran up. The basic look is good, but right now the clear issue is that where the clicking is going, what the focus is being on, is a little off. In a sense, it's where the eyes are that is the biggest issue that is in my eyes right now. Now, when we move down to do that little push, what you're going to see, and this is so classic, and I want you to actually find some program that lets you record your own first-person VODs so you can see if this is even happening. Very classic mistake. Notice at the bottom, you see how it says layer right there. It says Roachhorn right now. Clicking on the speed, and now we see the evolution chamber. Now we're looking at the hatches, that area right there. If you are looking at the top area, the same thing that is at the bottom, it's probably bad. In other words, if we're looking at our hatches and we have our hatchery selected, that's bad. If we have our roaches selected and we're looking at our roaches, that's probably bad. In other words, your eyes and your hands should be able to do two different things at the same time. Right now, the eyes and the hands are having way too much overlap right now. So a lot of clicking here. I'm noticing that the drone is selected at the bottom, as are the eyes locked on the drone, but where are the hands doing things like building the overlord? Are the eyes checking the overlords in the top right? So there is vomit on the larva. Now, Wheat is basically doing the right thing, right? Making a lot of roaches. This seems pretty standard. There doesn't feel like very much scouting has gone on. And I also want to point this out. I hope people have picked up on this. This is kind of a subtle point, but notice how this game feels like everything's happening kind of fast. Regardless of the fact that we are at 10 minutes and 34 seconds, according to the timer there, things feel like they're happening kind of fast. Like, see that Zergling that just got sent to the Xel'Naga Watchtower and got killed? And oh my gosh, yeah, we have to kind of frantically do this. There's this visual effect where, because you're scooting kind of left and right and kind of jittering about and you're, oh my god, the forces are under attack, it gives the illusion that things are actually happening quickly, but actually they're happening at a pretty decelerated pace.
Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
Really, Wheat?
The classic mistake.
No wonder I didn't have any damn gas.
And part of the reason why that happens, that sort of thing happens, is because the hands are moving fast and the brain starts to go, oh my gosh, and it gets a little bit over-eager. You want the hands moving fast, but the brain thinking quite slowly, honestly, in a StarCraft game. You've got to be thinking really fast, and there's a lot of fast thoughts that are going on, but your overall sense of what's happening should be very calm. It should be I guess slow is the wrong word. It should be very calm. Notice how many larvae we have. Looks like Wheat is now spreading the overlords out. Little things like not taking control of the Xel'Naga Watchtowers. I say little because it won't actually require that much effort. Wheat, if he just sends his roaches to the top right side, he could pick off that Xel'Naga cavern. And in this position, you're also kind of noticing that Wheat really doesn't have any vision of what his opponent's doing. And people like to think of that as direct vision of, like, for instance, oh yeah, I have the Overlord in his base. Wheat's suiciding that Overlord in right now. But doing something little like controlling a Xel'Naga Watchtower, spreading out vision of the map. The more vision of the map you have, even if your opponent is not there, you are getting a really great sense of what your opponent is doing. Now, one thing to note, Wheat is almost, like he said before, he's feeling kind of nervous. I mean, this is probably the biggest crowd that Wheat has actually played in front of. As of course I know 8,000 of you are tuned into the stream. Hi guys. Oh, want to see what's going on over here? So, of course, the nervousness tends to cause tunnel vision. The big thing to note, it causes tunnel vision. You tend to just lock in on the main area up at the top. Your eyes have trouble seeing the mini-map in the bottom left. They have trouble seeing the food in the top right because your brain literally only wants to focus on what is directly what you are looking at. So that is part of the reason why people in tournaments do silly things like not see dropships coming and all that good jazz. Wheat's been reasonably proactive about vomiting his larva. Could be obviously doing a little bit better of a job. Now let's talk a little bit more about his hotkeys. We clearly see that there are some queens and some different hotkeys at the far bottom. We see the hatch is 4. We see some roaches and lings. Literally every military unit should be in a hotkey. You want to be able to retrieve those very, very quickly. So literally, we could box these, but we want to see some sort of, oh, there's lings, and then again, to go back to this vision, to go back to this what are my eyes looking at versus what are my hands doing point, we want to have something where his eyes see that there are some zerglings, and then his hands send the roaches there, and then while his hands are sending the roaches there, his eyes goes back and looks at, say, the mini-map, or maybe goes back into his main. Looks like a little mutiny going on, having his roaches kill one of his own things. And another thing that seems kind of obvious, always keep vomiting larvae. It sometimes happens when you get way more larvae than you're actually anticipating. Now, let's look at these mules at the bottom of the mini-map. I just want you to be aware of them. Notice that they're approaching their destination in the bottom, and I'm almost certain that we, oh wow, did manage to get them in a good time. Oh, very good. That's the power of hotkeys. It's very easy to send Mutalisk down there and to kind of forget about them. And now he's moving into the back, and oh my goodness, he's going to be happy about that. He's killing the queen. I prefer to kill drones, and when the drones start running, then kill the queen. He's going for the Hydra Den. The drones are juicy. Now, here's a very obvious thing. People seem to think, yeah, just kill drones because that's good. But there's the idea of guaranteed damage. If there is a thing that has 10 hit points and a thing that has 1,000 hit points, you're almost guaranteed to kill off the thing with 10 hit points, right? Drones have far less hit points than a Hydralisk Den, so it's much more likely that you'll actually do the damage. And notice in the middle of that, the eyes and the hands were all devoted to those Mutalisks. You want to have the eyes looking at the Mutalisks, the hands macroing back home, and then at the very instant, you need to retreat. You want to click one, move away, maybe go back somewhere else with your eyes while your hands are doing that. And notice the little thing, that's the second time djWHEAT has clicked down on that air attack. Second time that he is.
Yeah, I did hear you on that one.
Uh-oh. I've been caught. I'm guilty. That's the second time that djWHEAT has seen an upgrade and then clicked on the portrait. And you'll notice that, again, this game feels very fast, right? It feels like there's a lot of movement around. In fact, visually, it can be almost dizzying to see these sorts of little things. I mean, even for someone like me who's played, RTS games for a million years, djWHEAT's moving about the screen kind of quickly. So it feels justifiable to click that portrait, but definitely shouldn't be doing that. And of course, the gold expansion looks like Wheat now recognizes that it is up. He's going to be moving in here. Gosh, he has a lot of Mutalisks, and there's no reason he should have just flown over those 4 colonies. Could have done quite a bit of damage. Now, strategically, it's pretty straightforward what Wheat should be doing right now. He made a lot of Mutalisks, and then his opponent makes a lot of Hydralisks, so Wheat should make a lot of Roaches. But I'm really wondering, what about that top left expansion? Are there enough drones mining there? Has he vomited larvae up at that top left? And here goes the eyes and hands linked to the same spot again. Now, that brief period of time, literally 5 seconds ago, when we glanced at that bit of gray area on the map that was still under the fog, while you're glancing there, you want to be doing something else with the hands. So, okay, so here comes Wheat. He's going to regroup. Watch the mini-map. All this regrouping, the hands should be regrouping, the eyes should be on the mini-map. Uh-oh, infestors are going to be there. This might be strategically tough for Wheat to be able to defend, but he's going to pull back. And honestly, all those units are in one big clump right now. Could be spreading them out a little bit more. But honestly, I don't care too much about that. This sort of positioning, yeah, Wheat is spreading them out. Wouldn't have bothered me if he didn't do it. That is very much so not the problem that causes the Platinum player to stay in Platinum and not get into Gold. And here he is preparing for the attack. Absolutely essential period of time. And there's the drones going down. The drones were sort of motivated by looking there and going, oh, hey, there aren't any drones here. Kind of want to have a little bit more planning ahead. Ooh, some Banelings coming. Often you don't get to see Zergs be this dynamic. Generally, it's a lot of Mutas and Roaches that do a flurry of activity and end the game. And he's going to be rehocking them together. Ooh, be careful. Don't get close to those infestors. All right, now my commentary is going to pause for a moment while I just pray that a fungal growth doesn't land right there. A lot of Mutalisks, a lot of Roaches. A lot of Banelings. I mean, Wheat actually has a very potent army. And what I'm also seeing if I glance over is that he has just hit max. And this is kind of an awkward way to become maxed where, and I'm curious if this happens to any of you, as it generally will. Uh-oh, we'll put that thought off for a moment. Very important. I'm going to even speak more slowly here. Those units of Wheat should have very deliberately all moved together. It looks like his opponent miraculously was regular move instead of attack move. I love that Wheat... Oh, yeah, Wheat, that's what I'm talking about, baby. And here's where the adrenaline floods in your system, whether you're at home in practice or not. This is the most intense moment of the game, right after you've held off a huge attack and you get that, oh my god, I might win. Especially because we've even heard djWHEAT verbally beating himself up for some things. And now he's moving in for the kill. This might be a delightful feeling if he wins this game live on air. I'm going to even ignore everything I'm saying for a moment. Come on, Wheat, go, Wheat, get him, get him, get him. And here he's going to be moving forward now. Now, what I'm already going to tell you right now, a big thing I'm going to be asking Wheat to do a lot is do a lot of tapping, which is what I call hitting a hotkey once just to check up on something. So for instance, we want to check up on how much energy our queen has, we tap 5. So for instance, in this battle, our eyes are locked here, because that's where our eyes need to be. But our hand is going to tap 5, and our eyes are going to glance at the bottom, check that energy, and then the hands and eyes, and then both go back to this battle. Mutalisks should be participating in this fight. Uh-oh, looks like craziness going on over there. Mutalisks definitely should be participating in this fight. This is very classic attack disorganization, where a few units end up bundling themselves up into an attack, and your eyes are focused on that small bundle of unit, and you kind of just say to yourself, well, oh gee, okay, let's control these the best. Let's make these do what I need to be doing, when, of course, you should be doing something like glancing at your minimap. Glancing at the minimap is a surprisingly good tool for finding units. We're talking to us about queens. Remember how I said it was a little bit awkward for Wheat to be hitting max right now? And, you know, it's kind of funny. This occasionally happens in these sorts of games where your rally point will actually be off, and you'll just sort of find the units that you needed to defend. Would ideally want to have the units in a better position anyways. Oh yeah, and this is an awkward position to be maxed in because of the fact that there aren't really any drones. Now these Mutalisks from Wheat are about 2 minutes late in busting into the back of the base. We see that his opponent, oh my god, djWHEAT. djWHEAT, yes. Oh, okay, now, can we bring the djWHEAT back on so we can communicate? Oh, yay! Man, Wheat knocking him dead. All right, I also have to ask, good old Shrew, is the crowd erupting with joy? Is everyone going, yeah, Wheat? Because they should be. How do you feel?
Yes! I feel like you should feel after you win a StarCraft 2 matchup. Especially when you're on a Day9 Daily. And you're like,
Day9 Daily number 208.
I occasionally hear words coming out, and I'm like, that's tough. That's tough.
It's a flurry of GGs.
Oh, and can you put up our wonderful overlay for any of the viewers who are tuning in?
Oh, wow.
Where we're doing
I
a
need
little
to go
bit
do
of,
some push-ups or something.
I know, seriously, just get all that lactose out of the system.
It's
that
not
is what
woohoos.
Starcraft
Way
does.
to go, Wheat. Well played.
So, of course, everyone's quite pleased at the Wheat.
I do want to say, like, I felt like, you know, as I was opening, a few things here and there was going wrong. Yeah. I let a little bit of the fact that you were right there, like, you know, and that
was...
was...
blah, 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 and I'm, like, pointing over into your vision.
That was
Don't
rough.
worry, that's for the next game. Now, for anyone, I just want to let everyone know what's coming up after our little discussion. We're going to be doing that again, where Wheat's going to play a random ladder game, but this time, I'm going to be talking in a way that Wheat can hear me. He's going to be trying to follow instructions as opposed to...
Which is totally cheating, and we don't condone it, but this is for teaching purposes.
No, it's great. No, this is totally... not cheating at all.
Okay.
This is just coaching at the expense of
coaching
someone's points. So now I want to ask, how did the game feel? What were your thoughts on how you played that game?
There was a couple things like actually really early on.
Yeah, let's even break it up. So let's talk about the early game before you even got those Mutalisks up.
Well, I saw the Roach Warren, and and kind of going along with the skirt by with what you can.
Yeah.
I thought I was okay with that, just one spine crawler and a few Zerglings. And what I was most worried about was Banelings. And when I saw all the roaches, I was like, well, I like to play mutas, so I think for me that's what I need to do to win this game. Now, when I saw a lot of the Hydralisks, I have to admit, I just like kind of went into the mode of, well, shit, my roaches will take care of that, no problem. I definitely could have gotten a little bit more diverse, but the reason I went the Banelings was because I thought maybe I feel like I can out-meet him with roaches, but the Banelings can like soften up the Hydralisks and any extra
Banelings
Zerglings.
Are super good against Hydras.
But that's why I just made that little bit and sent them in just kind of as a suicide army, really.
Now, I want to back up to something you said right at the start. You said, I made that little force. I mean, I was mostly scared of Banelings. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
The reason is because in seeing a lot of the games, I feel like it is one of the matchups that I actually have the least amount of experience in.
Yeah, okay.
And it scares me even more when I watch these unbelievable ZVZ Zerg Baneling matchups, and I'm like, oh my God, that's
one
like
Baneling kills like 50 Zerglings.
And so so that was just kind of it's sort of a mental thing. Definitely for me. Like and throughout the whole matchup, I was like, "Where's the mutas? Where's the mutas? It's a race to the mutas." And I was freaking out because I didn't have my Spire and no anti-air at all.
Yeah. Now, I love the fact that you talked about that it was an experience thing, because that's a very, very common issue that even plagues, the better diamond levels players of play, where the idea of something is the worst part. You think Banelings are scary. Now, of course, if a Baneling suddenly just appeared on the map, yeah, that would be bad. But, of course, there's a process to get Banelings. I guarantee you that if there's an expansion to Spinecrawler down, he's going to have a hell of a long time to be able to get those Banelings up. You can plant roaches. You can have a Spinecrawler up, maybe two if you're feeling really nervous. But you will be more than fine. But the only reason I know that is because I sat down and tested it. And anytime you have some sort of fear where you're like, I'm worried about blank, literally, there should not ever be worry in your play. You should say, okay, if he does this, I know to respond like that. So anytime you have some sort of fear, you should totally be doing that sort of thing. So, yeah, I really think you could have even squeezed in a lot more drones at the start and all that good jazz. But the one thing that I actually talked about the whole game, I almost ignored the strategy. The big words I used a lot were what your hands were doing and where you were looking on the screen. So when we do this next coaching session live, I'm going to actually explain to the viewers and to you, Wheat, the way that this is going to work. So we're going to have djWHEAT. He's going to go into a game. And I also just, before anything more gets said, what is your hotkey setup for the early and late game?
My hotkey setup is 4 are all my hatcheries, and then
great.
I choose to individually go with my queens,
so
that I can just double tap, larva inject.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty much like with a 1, 2, 3, as far as like lings and banelings, roaches, and then 3 mutas, and then, late game, like maybe a Nidus on 0.
Yeah, and notice anything special is used on the 0 key. So, of course,
anything 0.
There's Wheat's keyboard.
And then, I hope that I get up in late game with queens enough that I'm using all of these up. But occasionally, that's about it,
All right, great. That is perfect. So now, I am going to be talking a lot in your ear, and what I want you to do is try not to spend any energy thinking of responses. Because the human brain can only actually handle about 7 different things at once. And if one of those things is, all right, cool, thanks, Day, any sort of social formality, that's a waste of time. We don't want to spend any brain power on that. I just want my voice to be an input. So I'm going to say one big thing is tapping. So for instance, when you are in a or if you have that drone moving down where you have 3, I'm going to be like, look at the drone, now tap the hatch, tap the hatch. I want you to tap 4 once, so that way on the bottom bar we'll end up seeing the hatch appear, because you want to be looking somewhere different than what your hands are doing almost always. So we're going to go ahead and go into the game right now. If you'd be so kind, Wheat, as to find match.
I need to think about that a little bit. You know, so if I'm looking off screen or at like my mutas.
Yes, let's say you're looking at your mutas and you want to say.
But I'm wanting to look at my larva, right?
But I mean, a great way to time it is to say, how much energy does my queen have? You tap 5.
Right.
Queen has 30 energy. 5-5 V spam. 6-6 V spam. 1-1, and now we're back to our mutalisks. You just want to tap it. You want to be constantly checking on things. And another thing is that there's the physical tap.
Oh my God! But I mean, like, you saw how I was playing. Obviously, if you commented like that, that's going to be incredibly hard to.
Totally. Don't worry. You just listen to my soothing voice, and I'm going to be all positive and encouraging.
Okay.
And we're
so
go
I
directly
shouldn't.
into game 2.
You think I like shouldn't even really? I'm not thinking about APM at all. I'm thinking about just.
Yeah. And most importantly,
I didn't even finish.
Get pumped down to play. You don't want to get pumped up and hyper, so you're kind of feeling all jittery. That is actually an extremely hard thing to do well. What you want to do is you want to get calm. You want to go, okay, cool. Only in games where you're specifically practicing your APM, hit it, do you actually really want to be thinking as frantically as you can and trying to get more and more and more done. djWHEAT, get yourself pumped down, my friend. Get yourself pumped down. All right, so we're going into this match. You have an outrageous bonus pool. Oh, all right, cool. It's a Zerg versus Zerg against Jellyfin. So let's start the game off. I like the way you're holding your hands. You're using the control on your pinky. So perfect. Now, send that Overlord to whatever position you want. We're going to go ahead and ignore that this game. Now, for the record.
Oh, no.
Oh, getting
really?
ghosted. Oh, Jellyfam.
That's
all right.
totally not
a
okay.
big deal. Keep making the drones. We're going to ignore that.
Okay.
In fact, if you want, block him. Block him right now and unpause the game.
What?
No. All right. Okay. Cool. No. I honestly think that it is very smart at the start of every game to block your opponent, so that way you can actually focus on the game. I don't mean that rudely, but a lot of times people get overly excited. All right. Ready? And it looks like Jellyfam is not going to be ghosting Wheat.
That's messed up.
Now,
That's
okay.
messed up.
For
I'm totally thrown off now.
SD, make drones.
Yeah,
make drones. SD.
So I've got 9. I want to go OV.
Oh, sorry, misread. I thought that said 8. Clearly need new contacts. Actually, clearly need any contacts at all. All right, cool. There's the good luck to have fun. All right, now, let's send that to somewhere useful. All right, great.
Okay.
To the center of the map. 4 SD. 4 SD. Let's just send that Overlord to our natural expansion.
Where'd he go?
Just click that Overlord, send it to the natural expansion. To our natural expansion, our natural at the left, the bottom left
Sorry.
side. Yeah, 4 SD. Now notice how we're looking at the expansion, but there was still 4 SD. That's exactly the way we want it.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to be going for a 14 pool and then a 14 hatch. So 4 SD. And just go ahead and rally. Okay.
What, 14 pool, 15 hatch is what you said?
Yeah, we're going to do 14 pool, 14 hatch, just to be a little bit more on the faster pool end of things. We're not even going to send out a scout drone for a little bit of time, because the most important thing is just to be able to get that 14 pool up nice and fast. So let's go ahead and BS. Great. Select a drone, hotkey it, and send it to the far south, or excuse me, far bottom right position. Control 1. All right, now I want you to go 4 SD. SD. All right, great. Great, we're at 15. Cool. We're going to chill right now. Now, the big thing, now go to your drone. Let's look at your drone. Let's only look at your drone now. Staring at the drone, I want you to glance up at your minerals. No. Cancel that drone.
What?
Oh, fuck it. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going. Now, I want
sorry.
you to just look up at the minerals.
Okay.
Look up at the minerals. And
Yes.
once we get 200, now go back to your main base, 4-4. We're going to get 4-4. Select a guy, send him down to the expansion. Send one guy down to the expansion at the far bottom. Great. Perfect. And now I want you to be glancing at the mini-map. I'm going to say that a lot. Check the mini-map. Okay.
Sure.
Build it. 3-3 or 1-1 or whatever our expansion is. Now I want you to do make an Overlord without moving anywhere. Don't do any of that hacking stuff. No, you went back to the hatch. You want to be looking at the drone this whole time. Now just go ahead and box just 2 or 3 guys and just whack away at it. Now make a queen by going 4Q, and you want to not hit 4-4. You want to just hit 4 once. Now hit 4 SZ. 4SZ. Okay, great. Now 4SDD. Now notice how we are staring at everything. We have a good sense. Wow, we're even getting to see that he's not spending any larva. Perfect. 4SD, rally to your expansion. Now hockey everything together, and your drone will be, your queen should be hatching relatively soon. Check the mini-map. Now, go ahead and make a gas geyser. This is a little bit slower than we want our average gas geyser, but the most important thing is that execution. Now, I want you to stop scrolling around the screen. Everything should be a hotkey. Now, 3-3, or excuse me, I guess I'm using my hotkeys for scouting. Go ahead and start making plenty of drones. Just right-click on that once and ignore it, completely ignore it. 4SD. And are you making another queen? Sorry, I inadvertently forgot to say that.
Oh, in my
Go ahead and make another queen. That's perfect. Go ahead and put guys into our gas geyser. Now we want to check up in the top right. Is it time to make more overlords? Indeed it is. So 4SV. SV, check the mini-map. Check the mini-map. And as we check the mini-map, we get reminded, yes, look, how he naturally just sends that overlord to somewhere useful. 4SDD. Go ahead and rally both things. 4SDD. Now tap the queen. We want to practice tapping. 5. Now hit 4SDDD. Notice that we are just tapping things to try to see what is going on. Now, move that around. Go ahead and continue to make drones. Throw down a roach warren in your main. Now, there's your other queen up. Let's go ahead and hotkey your other queen. Let's go ahead and hotkey your other queen. Great. Now, it looks like Zerglings are in. That's fine. Just go ahead and make some Zerglings. 4SZZZZ. Bring that other queen down from the top. Let's go ahead and remake another queen. No big deal. We are losing that. That's fine. Now, let's just check the minimap. Check the minimap. Just be aware that that overlord at the bottom is still there. We want to spread our awareness of what's going on right now. All right, so our queen's getting wailed on. That's no problem. Now just start making drones again. Go back to making drones. To be honest, we've probably even made a few too many lings. Let's go ahead and just send 5. Let's send that back up. Let's send our good queen back home. And let's select all our Zerglings again. Get those all nice and set up. Now we want to check up in the top right. It looks like our food is going to be getting a little high. Now what I'm going to do, Wheat, is I'm actually going to deliver most of the reins of the game to you decision-making wise, and I'm going to return to being the mental checklist. Send that queen back up there. All right, great. Now check your food. Check your food. Food's getting close to max. Now check your mini-map. We don't have a lot of vision. We want to be spreading out on the mini-map. Check your food again. All right, great. Let's tap 4S. Do we have larvae? Yes, let's definitely make a lot of roaches. 4S, R. Let's be able to do something sexy. We need more overlords. Let's do 5. Tap. Tap on 5. Does that queen have enough energy? Just 1 tap. Definitely has energy. 5. Great. See how we did that tap, made use of it. We're looking at that overlord. We're looking where we wanted to look. Let's check our food. Our food's getting kind of high. We should probably be getting an overlord out. SV. Great. Now let's make that's fine. That's fine. Now let's go ahead and spread some Zerglings out. Check minimap. Check food. Check money. This is the order we're going to go in. We're just going to glance at the minimap. My goodness, we don't have any vision. Let's start moving some troops forward. Let's actually select all those units and begin moving them out. We're literally doing the same thing that you want to do. Uh-oh, you did a lot of hockeying. You want to hockey once. You're spamming to things you don't need to spam. Hockey everything together with 1 motion. Great. Control 1. Now send that out to the center of the map. Send that out. We want a very high economy of clicking. Okay, let's check our food in the top. Oh, be careful. Select all those Zerglings. That's fine. Keep making roaches. You're going to win that. It's not going to be a big deal. All right, keep making things. Now, let's check our food. Our food's looking good. Let's make some drones. Let's make another extractor. Right now, we are looking at the battle, and you're macroing at the same time. That's great. That's exactly the way you want to be. Let's keep making some drones right now. Let's go ahead and vomit larva. Let's tap 5. Tap 5. Tap 6. Okay, wow, yeah, it seems like that was actually really good. Yeah, perfect. Look at that. Our roaches were already arcing themselves. We can already see that Wheat is in a much better position. He has more drones, and his natural expansion is actually not used to how much money he's having. So it looks like we have a lot of money and a lot of larva. So let's tap 5. Let's tap 5. Do we have enough energy? Tap 5. Tap 5. Tap 6. All right, cool. It looks like we still don't quite have enough for those larvae, as we did begin vomiting them when we were around 50 energy. So let's go ahead with our money and make a hatchery. Let's go to our natural expansion. Let's quickly go to the natural expansion. I'm going to have to talk a little bit faster. Go to the natural. That's at the left. It's going to be at the 7 o'clock position, at the bottom left, at the bottom left, at the bottom left, right there. Perfect. Build that. Build that. So we're going to check our food. We're getting kind of high. 4 SVV. Let's go ahead and spread those out into the middle of the map. We want to check our mini-map. Let's get control of that Zelmaga watchtower that's at the top, that's at the bottom. Let's check our food. It is kind of high, but we built those overlords good. Let's check our money. Our money's high. Can we do anything useful with it? Yes, let's make a layer. Let's go back and hit 4 and hit a layer. Great. Let's make some drones. All right. That's fine. Oh, no, don't talk. Don't talk. Focus on the game.
Okay.
All right, great. Now let's go ahead and re-rally that hatchery. That hatchery was misrallied. Quickly re-rally the hatchery to the mineral patches. Great. Looking good. Now, control 1, shift, add everything to 1 control group, so that way we have everything hotkey. The instant any unit pops out, we want to hotkey everything. So let's go ahead and grab those. Let's check our food. Our food's getting high. Let's go ahead and make an overlord. Let's go ahead and make an overlord. 5 tap, 6 tap. Are we continuing to make larva?
What the?
5 tap, 6 tap, 5 tap, 6 tap. It looks like he's trying to talk a little bit of smack, but of course you're just letting him know that you do in fact have fully equipped roaches ready to rock. Vomit larva at your natural expansion.
Okay, sorry. What?
Vomit larva at your natural expansion. Ignore it, completely ignore it. You want to vomit larva at your natural expansion. That is perfect. Now begin making roaches 4 SR. You actually have an overlord selected with control hotkey 4. Perfect. Now, I want you to play a little bit slower. Start slowing your play down a little bit. Are you making roaches? Cool. Rehotkey that. Just slow that down. Now, let's go ahead and check our expansion. It should be up in the bottom left. The way we found that was by looking at the mini-map. Let's check our food. Food's getting kind of high. Let's make some overlords. You can go ahead and make an extra hatch in your main if you want to, because our money is so high.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go back 5-5 to go back to our main hatchery. All right, great. And let's go ahead and vomit. Perfect. Now let's go 1-1 because we're checking our mini-map. Let's check our mini-map. What do we see? We see some troops there. Let's go ahead and just briefly poke in on that. All right, cool. Let's just keep making lots of roaches. Now let's check that food count. All right, well, clearly we're capped because it just told us. Let's check our mini-map. Are we continuing to build drones at that expansion that's at the far bottom? We even have some roaches. Yeah, look, that's perfect. No. Uh-oh, that's fine. Just go ahead and build an evolution. Build a whole bunch of spore crawlers right there. Build a whole bunch. You have a spore thing yet. All right, now take those guys back and bring them forward. That is perfect. Yep, great. Perfect. Now keep macroing. Let's go ahead and check our larva. Let's check our mini-map. Add the larva, just ignore that for a moment. All right, cool. Now, are we adding queens in our main? All right, he's running up into the main, that's fine. Let's go ahead and bring those up. Now, let's research speed. Go to that bottom left hatch, make sure we're still making extra drones. Perfect, let's vomit larva there. Notice how I'm almost ignoring this battle, but that's okay, because if we live through this, we want to have everything going for us. We have another queen that has just popped out. Yeah, perfect. Let's go ahead and make some extra evolution, or excuse me, some spore crawlers there. Let's keep macroing. Great. Now let's check our food. Our food is still looking pretty good. We're looking at our mini-map. Look at the mini-map. Wheat, I'm going to make you look at the mini-map. Just briefly check that. All right, great. Perfect. So it looks like we have pretty much cleaned up this mess that was there. Looks like we're still getting hit there. Now watch your mini-map. Where is it telling you you're under attack? You have some mutalisks there. Just want to make sure you keep rebuilding those. Now let's take all your roaches and do a big counterattack. Now, I want you to just hit A and then once click in the back of his main. A and
back of his main?
Yeah, just once click there. Now, ignore the roaches for the remainder of this situation. We want to get this back on track. I want to show the power of macro here. Let's make queens. Play slowly, make some spore colonies. Collect those queens very nice and slowly. Send those through. There's a battle going on in the middle. Check the mini-map. Just make sure nothing's terrible is going on. Just look. Great. Now go ahead and just halt them in the middle of the map. Just make them stop moving. That's perfect. Excellent. Now let's go back and begin continuing to vomit larva. Is our food doing okay? Yes. On the mini-map, we'd like a little more vision. Perfect. Let's go ahead and throw down yet another hatch. Even though we could be macroing better, we just want to keep spending money. Let's put guys in the geyser. Now there's one more thing we've added to our mental checklist. How are our upgrades doing? Let's go ahead and check those. Hit the spacebar, spacebar, spacebar. All right, that's fine. Just pull them back comfortably home. Should probably throw down a Hydralisk den right now. We're going to make some Hydras. VH, perfect. Begin making drones and roaches. Put guys back into gas in your main. Put guys into gas at the 2 places at your natural expansion.
That's fine. Wow.
Indeedy do. So let's check our food. Our food's getting kind of high. We want to make some extra overlords. Let's go ahead and expand to the far south position, the far south. Quickly to that natural expansion. Select a drone and send it to the far south. All right, ignore that for the time being. Let's finish this task at hand. Just one thing at a time. Now hit the space bar and go back. Perfect. Now just scoop some queens up. Not a big deal. Absolutely not a big deal at all. Just get your queens up there. Put the guys in the gas geyser there. Ignore everything. Put guys in the gas geyser. There's a lot of data coming in. You want to play calm. Keep that calm mind. Do one at a time. That's dead. Retreat. Retreat. Run away. No, run away with the drones, run away with the drones, run away with the drones. Keep your drones alive. That's no problem. All right, now let's go back to the main. Let's just keep vomiting larva. Continue to vomit larva. Make maybe 2, 3 Hydralisks, not too many, as he doesn't really have. Now, begin remaking drones. Re-rally all your hatches into your main. Now, begin re-rallying, noticing that we're kind of low on drones. And all this is happening because we just need to play a little bit more slow, a little bit more calmly. Now let's do the intuitive thing. 4SHHH. There's no reason to be scooting the map around at all. We see Mutalisks. 4SH. One simple motion. Looks like our queens have fallen. That's fine. Let's go ahead and calmly rebuild those queens. Let's go ahead and back up because he will be killing. Make do the obvious thing. Great. Add an Overseer on. And of course, he's going to come up the ramp. No big deal. We're going to do as much damage as we can to those. We're going to continue making some roaches right now. Great vomiting those. If we want to do something silly, we're going to check our food. Still important to do. And it looks like our Zerg player is going to be having a few too many roaches. So we might be able to barely stay alive. Or will he be able to win in time? Well, it looks like Wheat's still continuing the macro. And at this point, it's all macro. We just want to continue producing. And we're actually even going to take a chance to relook at this game after all is said and done. Wheat, I'm not sure you can hold on to that torrent of roaches. I think it's time to give him the good game. Yeah, the tap out. There is the GG. Wheat, I will give you the admirable effort for hearing me scream in your ear.
It's tough. If anyone like, I know I wasn't playing as well, but God, that's so helpful. It's ridiculous because now my brain is finally like processing everything that you were saying, and like a lot of stuff was making sense when you were saying it. And I think like
it's kind of hard to get the hands and the brain to line up.
And suddenly I like realize that I almost play like in a panicked mode constantly.
Yeah, just playing really slow is so helpful. You know, we're actually going to go back and look at this game if we can actually get the camera back on the computer PC. Looks like Jellyfin, happy to have made the cameo appearance. So, I mean, right at the start, everything was going fine. I mean, these little things, like really making huge use out of your Overlord scouting placement, is going to be really helpful if you absolutely know what you're doing strategy-wise, but you will never know where your timings are at unless everything is very, very flawless. Now, Hero is giving you some mixed directions, so of course that queen popped out a little bit late. But one thing I was saying in the cast of the first game is like if you have this Overlord here, as we see this Overlord is hotkeyed as, it looks like 3. So you want to be doing something like 3-3 and then 4 SDD, and then looking up here and saying, oh yeah, I have 120 minerals, I can have enough to make drones. Oh, I need to make an Overlord, 4 SV, and that the whole time, the screen is where the screen has been during this whole conversation, on the Overlord. And then doing a lot of looking at the minimap. If you just glance at the minimap, you will, like, I remember when I said Wheat, glance at the minimap, you remembered that there were roaches here. That is the real power of just glancing at the minimap, glancing at your minerals, and sort of churning those out. And you heard me say, even in the thick of things, are we not getting supply blocked? Because that is like, that is something that takes like years of losing to like train your brain to do. It's just like, oh my god, I just lost every expansion I have. Do I have enough food? Like, so of course here was the reasonable defense. Now if we take a look over at Jellyfin, Jellyfin is actually quite a ways behind us. Looks like you are doing quite well. Yeah, you're making your queens. Here comes some vomiting. Yeah, now at this point, I didn't tell you to make a lair. From having watched your last game, you would have gotten it a little bit sooner. Yeah. But I want you to know, we're already doing a little bit better than our opponent. And honestly, we can start making a lot of drones. Now, this is part of what happens when you're in panic mode. You have the ability to make roaches, so you start making roaches, and then you keep making roaches. And if we get the camera back to me, I'll do this when it's time to change. I'll give them the peace sign. So, this is something that always happens. And I'm wondering if you can comment on the way this feels, where you'll have one, and by you I mean you, dear viewer, you'll have the ability to make a certain unit, and this is especially true with Zerg, and you'll start making it, and then you'll always in your head just sort of go, do I have larva? Okay, yes, R. Okay, I guess I need some economy. S, D. Oh, damn, there's an attack coming against R, and that's... Does this ever happen to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely,
just
it
like,
happens.
totally.
No,
Like,
I feel like in some situations, again, referring back to like the panic mode thing.
yeah.
Definitely when I, just like you said, a battle. Oh my God, just dump everything. Where, you were like, make the drones. Don't worry about the battle. Like looking at it for that. Anyway, yes, make a lot of units all the time.
And let's actually head back to the game, and if we look, we see a couple of roaches coming out right now. Great. But now if we look at production right now, are we making any drones? This is the sort of thing that you can actually do in some of your games. Look at one spot on the map. We're just gonna look here. Now, this looks a little bit funny when we do it like this, right? Where it's kind of like, huh, yeah, and look, there's the drone that went to the expansion. Look, there's the drone. That's the first time at the 11-minute mark we're actually getting some saturation. That's Jellyfin realizing that we did a little bit of self-murdering action. But I mean, that's the sort of thing that when you look at that, like one part of the screen over a long period of time, you start to go, oh, I guess maybe when I start making roaches, I never stop making roaches. So let's go ahead and back up to right when we started looking there. And again, that's a good technique that everyone should do. Stare at one place of the map for the whole game, and then stare at another place of the map for the whole game. So for this one, we're actually going to stare here at the queen. Now, I was saying do a 5 tap. You could go 5-5 to just come back, but you want to be checking right here. This is part of the reason why I hotkey all my hatches individually as 5, 6, and 7, because that's how I remember, is I tap 5 and I will see this progress bar. If you're Idra and you always keep this energy under 30, anytime it's over 30, you just go, it's time to vomit larva. And that's one way that you can abuse this tap, where you just go 5-5 or 6, and you can just look down there. But the tap, just the check is so super awesomely key. So see, and here goes the good old roach production. Now, I want to open up this resource counter because we actually are just getting really far ahead of our opponent already. If we actually go to Jellyfin, he doesn't really have much of anything. Even the unit counting station, wow, yeah, we're actually getting a lot more roaches. We have a slightly higher drone count, even though we're a little bit behind here. Perhaps a little bit of a miss rally there. But I mean, overall, playing just great, man. All you got to do is macro a little bit harder. And see, what should really be happening is when you check this, anytime your money is over 800, you should really be stopping absolutely everything just to get that money under 800. You heard me say things like check your food. And sometimes you would check it, but you'd be in a battle, and I could see your eyes move up, but then the hands wouldn't do that. In order of importance, getting your food unblocked is like the second most important, and spending your damn money is like the #1 most important thing in any game. When it's 800, you should literally go, oh shit, I'm going to get in trouble, as you can see, because there's a crayons there that implies that there is a big mentor-student relationship here. I will bring out the paddle on you, Wheat.
Hell yeah.
Immediately, if you are over 500, you should go and immediately begin throwing them down. In fact, there's, a lot of the Koreans joke about how some players never even let their money above 400 because that's how much it costs to build a Nexus, and that is the only time that they ever let their money get that high, and there's a lot of truth to that.
Good philosophy.
So heading back to the game,
okay.
I mean, really, oopsie daisies, hit that treacherous T button that, of course, resets the replay. Speeding it up. There we go. Perfect. Now, what happens a lot of times is when those mutalisks came into your base, Wheat, what went through your head?
Instantly, what went through my head was, how many are there?
And now, how many did you count?
2.
Awesome. That's great, because a lot of people just go, mutalisks, shit, and then they kind of keep going. It's good to use your eyes to like...
Well, that's what I say when I see like 6 or more, and I'm not really ready for it. That's what would have been my response if there was 6.
Yeah, yeah.
2, I was like, 2? That was, yeah.
And this is another thing that happens where we end up with a little bit of stockpile. It looks like we do have enough for it. Anytime you're low on resources, again, the mental checklist. You heard me focus more mentally on this number, the food, this, and then, of course, the minimap. I kept saying just glance at the minimap, just glance at the minimap. Because, I mean, right now, if we glance, we remember that there's an overlord here. Maybe it would have been useful to suicide. Maybe it would have been useful to pull back here to just scout and to, of course, make a nose on the happy face. But, I mean, Very, very important, because there's this key moment that comes up. Now look at how far ahead you are, Wheat. You're at 86 to his 59, and really if you just keep your macro up at that level, you are going to be doing so much better. I mean, look at this, taking a third base, your layer's not really that far behind. Hell, just make 2 spore crawlers there and you are fine. Here are more of them. Now, this is a part in the game where I said, where's the hotkey? Anytime units come out, you want to be going Control 1, then add these guys, Control 1. Instant these guys pop out, Control 1. Or even if you don't want them, you hotkey them as Control 2. Every single unit should be in a hotkey. Because when you saw these units here, you want to be able to go one, click, bam. Of course, if I hit the 1, it just changes cam. Like right here, if we just count these units, you have 6 against 7, but you also have another, like, what is that, 11 up there. You could have crushed this by just going 1A click. You want the one true action. Yeah, and look, you are still ahead in the midst of all this. Now I just want to ask, Wheat, during this period of time, were you feeling ahead or behind?
I would actually think I was feeling a little behind.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not because my army was split up. Like I would never. What happened right there? I would never have done.
Yeah.
And that was actually probably a byproduct of taking it away.
Screaming. Wait! Oh my God! Oh shit!
So with that being said, I probably would have felt ahead if my Roach army was right there at the front, and I would have been, I would have won that battle like easily.
Yeah, yeah. Now, weirdly enough, I actually thought you were behind as well. And it's so easy for that to happen when there's that frantic look to the screen, because this is something I mentioned where you kind of scoot a little to the right and scoot a little to the left. I don't mean the word frantic in a derogatory fashion, but there's a lot of sort of like moving around. You'll see a lot of the players who are real comfortable with the keyboard be like 4-4, 5-5, 1-1, 3-3. They're just sort of the screen goes to exactly where they want it to be because the hotkey was already set up there. But like if we actually go back to the game really fast, if we're doing a lot of this can make it feel like there's a lot actually going on, because visually this is very jarring to see happen. And it was so jarring that I actually thought that you were way behind and on the verge of losing, and you're actually ahead. So resuming that game. And that's why you'll see so often players who have really high APM. I'm actually curious to check this APM. Yeah, that was at 87. You actually looked like you're playing significantly faster than that. But again, a lot of those players are going like 1-1, 3-3, 5-5, just sort of ping around. And now it looks like Jellyfin is starting to catch up, because as it appears he does have a few... Oh, actually he doesn't have a few more drones. We've been ahead with drones this whole game. And there's the wailing away action. And really there should have been one queen that got made. And here are the roaches coming in from behind, and just because Jellyfin had speed, he was able to get in there and do the damage. But I mean,
oh, no wonder. I was wondering why I.
And what?
Damn it.
But what's great is that if you play slower, I don't mean hand-wise, but I mean if your eyes are playing slower and your hands are being more deliberate. Because people love to talk about APM and how fancy it is, but you can play quite slowly, quite calmly, and get everything you need to do done. This is an excellent little illustration. And see, at this point in time, now we want to just go back here and say, okay, are drones there? Are there drones here? Because we're not actually so far behind. I mean, we even have an extra base. We go to the everyone can. Jellyfin is still just on 2 bases. Yeah, go Wheat. Yeah, it looks like you are just murdering this up. And then, of course, it looks like we might still even end up making a lot more roaches here, or maybe we do make drones. But yeah, you heard me also say this, where I said, select these, hit 1, click here, and that's it. I actually think we're going to be done with the game for now, but I mean, that honestly is one of the truest things that can ever be said. If you are anything below 1800 in diamond, for the most part, in every attack, boxer units, hit A, click, you're actually done with the battle. You actually don't even need to do anything more. I encourage people to do this. A lot of people will get in the battle and they'll watch and they'll select units and they go, okay, no, I probably shouldn't move those. Okay, maybe scoot these up a little bit. And then at the end, they have 1,500 minerals.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So, in hearing that, like, doesn't that introduce and teach a bad habit, like at what point are you like, oh, maybe I shouldn't 1A my armies anymore?
Yeah, I actually should definitely reword it because I don't want to be like, all right, now it's time to learn to not be so terrible because you followed my advice. What I want you to do is I want you to hit 1A attack, and then I want your eyes looking at that army. But I want your hands checking things, and then I want your eyes briefly to go away from the army and look up at the food in the top corner. Okay, back. Check my money. Okay, my money's low. Hands macroing, hands macroing. Oh, now you throw some force fields. 1F. Grrr. Okay, 4 ZZZ. Okay, I'm making some zealots. Okay, checking my food. Okay, checking that. Checking my mini-map. Oh, is my expansion done? Great. Do I need to do anything in the battle that I'm looking at right now? No. Okay. 0-0, back in my main nexus, transfer probes, 1-1, bam, eyes right back there. You want the eyes looking at useful places, but the hands doing almost everything. That's that. That's what I have to say, Wheat. And you know what? Ordinarily, we would be taking questions now, but we've gone a touch over.
Can I ask you some questions?
Yeah,
I feel like this is a good opportunity for
me.
The
Walking Dead is on, so
it is.
Sorry
I'll keep
to the
it to a
viewers.
minimum.
We'll take questions tomorrow.
I would love to know how terrible I am in comparison to how bad you thought I was.
You're actually, oh man, that is a tough question.
No, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but like, I've not, this was my first RTS. I really love this game. I feel like I am learning so much, all the time.
The way I would say it is clearly you watch a lot of good players play and have a good intuition for what the right decision is, but you haven't had the experience of the hands.
That's how I feel, dude.
Doing the right thing, because when I watch you play,
that's how I feel all the time.
Like specifically when you said, yeah, and I made the Mutalisk, and then I saw the roaches, or I saw the Hydras, and I just thought, well, my roaches got to clean this up. That's kind of a feel thing. It feels like roaches are really, really good against Hydras, and that's only an intuition you develop after watching lots of games. Honestly, on paper, it actually sounds like Hydralisks are better than roaches because they do more damage per second,
right.
But feel-wise, the roaches really do tend to crush the Hydralisks. So that was it's one of those high-level strategic things. But you also had no drones, which is more of a hand thing, a more of the basic fundamental mechanics.
So in order to really improve on that aspect, which is something that you pointed out in both of my games, tell me if I'm wrong, but one of the biggest things that could help me is just to slow down.
Yeah, slowing down a lot, get pumped down to play. And honestly, you need to make sure that, and by you, I don't mean you specifically, but I mean both of you, viewer and we, is that
you.
In the midst of a lot going on, and actually in the midst of something panic-inducing going on, like a battle that could kill you at your front, there's that sort of and your hands just kind of start clicking and you kind of start doing stuff. But you even heard me say, ignore everything, just put guys into gas. Okay, ignore everything, just vomit larva. That hatch literally had like 50 roaches about to kill it, and I was like, just make sure you vomit larva.
That'll help.
I mean, it's so important that in the midst of all this that you have one thing you're doing at a time. Multitasking is really the eyes and the hands doing different things at the same time, but really in an RTS you can only do exactly one thing at any given point in time. It's so important that you unclog your brain, you calm down, you play chill, you're picking one of those things and you're just killing it. Did I put guys in gas? I put guys to shit out of gas, man. I demolished that. Smash that gas geyser. Is rapidly getting it 4 at a time, snapping the neck of life. That is the way you want to do, just one at a time. So honestly, if you slow down a little bit, and then after a while you'll start to go, man, you know what? I'm always getting 7 drones, and then I'm making roaches. I'm always doing that. And then slowly you start automating that. And what happens? Your brain gets freed up to start thinking about more things. And in a sense, all the really tip-top players have had so much thinking devoted on how they do their hands that finally it's automated, and then it can be freed up for good Gosu strategy.
Word.
Do you have any final questions, Wheat? Because I can answer the shit out of those questions.
No. I think that I think I'm gonna walk away with some good stuff, dude.
Dude, now you want to go home and just build more drones. Don't you?
You know what? I'm gonna
Build
be
some
watching
drones?
my Ovi down there and going, check this out in the
Yeah.
Day9 voice.
Yeah.
4S.
Just tap 3. Just make sure the Overlord's still hockey. Just
and
tap
all my
3, he's happy.
all the guys that play are gonna be like, dude, your APM's 9. How do you do it? I'm gonna slow down. Day9 told me to.
Day9 told me to. Told me to have as much APM as he is a number.
Yeah.
All right, and that's gonna wrap up Day9 Daily number 208. I'm Sean Day9 Plot.
Oh, I'm djWHEAT.
djWHEAT, where can people find you?
When are we gonna do this again? How about that one?
Dude, I don't know. Just come over to LA, man.
It's got to be
flight credit.
It's got to be live because of the hands.
Yeah, man.
I understand.
Because
that's good.
So much what we didn't get the chance to do was spreading units across the mini map, because we're still trying to get rid of the sort of can we macro on our hatches bug, which honestly is one of the hardest things in the universe. But
right on.
Ain't no thing, mother.
Dude, thank you so much. You're the bomb.
You pound. I don't do handshakes.
Dude, people would pay money to have this experience. I wish it was like 5 hours.
And I just give it away for free. And of course, there's djWHEAT's website, djWHEAT.tv. Check out his archives at djWHEAT.blip.tv. Follow him on Twitter at djWHEAT. And once again, that's going to wrap up Day9 Daily number 208. I think that's it. We're done.
The Walking Dead.
Peace. Walking Dead time.
The Walking Dead.
Oh, I'm so excited. Go watch The Walking Dead. Psst. Fade to black.
Fade.
Reporting in.
To my masculinity, he only introduced me to wider